Welcome to another 10 Questions with Jamie, getting to know the people of Asbury. Today we are with Karen Anderson. Karen, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
As many of you viewers know, what we're going to do is we're going to sit down, ask Karen a few questions, and by the end of it, we're going to hopefully know a little bit more about Karen. So again, welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen, can you tell us where you were born?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay.
I was born in Oshawa, Ontario.
Okay.
And I have a twin brother.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He lives in Stouffville, Ontario, and I have a sister who's about 18 months older than us, and she lives in Campbellford, Ontario.
Okay, yeah. So how long were you in the Oshawa area prior to coming more eastern?
Well, just to back that up a little bit, Dennis and I used to rent cottages here in Perth area for about 15 or 20 years, going back to 1998.
Okay.
And we always thought, when we retire, where would it be? And we were really praying that it would be Perth. And little did we know that, you know, the Lord orchestrated that 22 years later. So we've been here since the summer of 17.
Okay. Yeah.
And we feel like we've always been here.
Yeah. It's a great spot. It's very common for people to come from the cities to this area and retire. It's beautiful countryside, nice people, and definitely a different pace than Oshawa. I've lived in Oshawa myself for a little bit, and certainly a change of pace for sure. But beautiful area, and there's no question why you guys would pick this area. So
well, we were ready for it.
Good. Can you tell us what type of music you would consider your favorite, Karen?
I can't really say that I have a favorite. I like, of course, you know, gospel, instrumental, the oldie goldies, and I just anything that's got a good beat. You know, I still have a young spirit, and I love to just get up and dance and make the grandkids laugh. So.
A variety of things. Then that's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you still got it too, Karen. Speaking of childhood and growing up, is there a favorite childhood memory, Karen, that sticks out for you that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I was probably about 10 years old, and my mother and a co-worker, a lady friend of hers, they decided to rent a cottage together in Aurelia. And I think looking back on it now, they probably thought, what are we doing? Because they had 7 children between the two of them. And the youngest one would have been about 4 and the oldest 17. So they had their hands full for 1 week. But, you know, but no, it was a fun time. I spent the majority of my time with my twin brother. We were very close. We still are. And we would swim a lot and play lawn croquet.
Yep.
And then in the evening, everybody would get together and play Remoli.
Yeah. 2 great games. I used to play croquet when I went to my grandparents. They'd always have that, and we'd set it up out in the lawn, and we'd have a great time. And nobody would get hurt most of the time, which is always nice. So, great memory though, for sure. And I'm sure for that week that there was days that were a little more high intensity than others. There's no question with having a full house like that. Now, Karen, when it comes to books, movies, would you prefer? Do you have a preference over fiction or nonfiction?
It'd be nonfiction.
Yeah.
And I do have one book in mind.
Okay.
It's called In His Steps.
Okay.
And it was by Charles Sheldon. And the first time it was published, it was in 1896, but that's not the one that I read.
Right.
And the story was based around, centered around a town in one church. And the pastor of that church, just try to give you a long story short version.
Sure.
The pastor of the church was preparing a sermon at home when there was a knock at the door. And it was a man that was out of work asking if he could give him some work somewhere. Well, the pastor was so involved with preparing his sermon that I think he kind of looked at the man as just being a nuisance, and he just kind of shooed him away.
Right.
And when he went to say his message on Sunday, lo and behold, who came into the service but the same man.
Right.
And sad to say, he did pass away right in front of the congregation. So after that was taken care of, the pastor, he could no longer say the sermon that he wanted to.
Right.
And he was just, this really played on his heart.
Yeah.
And he knew that he had done the wrong thing. I mean, the man was probably still going to die, but you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so he challenged himself and his congregation for a whole year to say that every time they went to do something or say something, that they would ask themselves, what would Jesus do?
Mm-hmm.
So the story was based on probably about 7 people in particular, you know, in the church, like all business people.
Mm-hmm.
And it really had an impact on them. So it was just a wonderful story.
Yeah.
You know, they all got a lot closer to the Lord and closer to each other, even, you know, amidst this sad story, you know.
Yeah. It sounds interesting. I've never personally heard it myself, but I could see there's definitely, it sounds interesting for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, good. Now going back to memory lane a little bit here, Karen. Back when you were a small child, was there anything in particular that you wanted to be?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A little bit different. I wanted to be a switchboard operator.
Okay.
My mother and I were very close, and she was an operator and the manager of the Oshawa answering service.
Okay. Yep.
So I did end up working there from age 16 to 21.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't anything like what's her name, Mrs. Olson on Little House. It wasn't like that. You know,
Right.
You weren't listening to private conversations, but it was fascinating. I just loved it.
Oh yeah, nice. I to be honest with you, I don't really have any knowledge of that that occupation. So, it's nice to hear that as a child, it came around where you've actually got a chance to, you know, it was for a short while, still got an opportunity to do that.
And even though my mother was my manager, she said, I can't treat you any differently than anybody else. And okay, Mom.
I've been down that road myself. I understand how that works. Yeah. Oh, good. No, I'm really happy to hear that you got a chance to do that. Good. Now, if you could choose to do anything for a day, Karen, what would it be?
A lot of this seems to be centered around my mother, but my mother and my grandmother and I, people would call us the Three Musketeers. Right. And we spent a lot of time together. We would go out for lunch to the Red Lobster, and then end up playing either Scrabble or cribbage. We'd just start laughing at nothing and just thoroughly enjoyed one another's company. So if I had a day, I would like to spend it with them.
Good. That's not a bad way to spend a day, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's good. And to point out, Red Lobster is one of my favorite restaurants to go to. Anytime I get an opportunity, I always try to make that work as well. So that's a great choice on dining choices. Yeah. Now, Karen, moving towards more of the biblical side of the questions here, would you happen to have a favorite Bible verse?
Well, as I was saying to you earlier there, it's hard to choose, But for right now, I would have to say Proverbs 16:24.
Okay.
Let's see, pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and healing to the bones. And I've always been the type of person that if you speak kindly to others, they're apt to speak kindly to you. And I try to do that.
No, it's good. It's not a bad way to have your train of thought. That you be as nice as you can, do everything out of love. I personally like Proverbs. Almost anything out of Proverbs, resonates with me. And so, hearing your favorite Bible verse from Proverbs, I can understand why you might choose. So, good. Yeah, very nice verse. Can't go wrong with that one. What or who had the biggest impact on you in your Christian journey?
It was a lady by the name of Helen Warner.
Okay.
And her husband, Ozzy, and I know Ozzy had mentioned, Dennis had mentioned Ozzy to you for his.
He did.
We were brand new Christians, and there was probably about a dozen of us. And the pastor at that time where we were attending said to Ozzy and Helen, who'd been Christians forever, how would you like to take on this group? And they didn't bat an eye. They just said, sure, we're up to the challenge. It was a challenge because, we were all new in the faith, eh?
Yeah.
But they were our Bible study teachers for 12 years and our mentors and our friends. And we learned so much. We grew so much, with them being our teachers and great friends.
Well, good. That's nice. To be able to have that, a couple, and then, and to develop not only develop growth, but it also developed a nice friendship, right? So
yes, it did.
Something that's continued on past the initial part of your journey. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and they had a large family, so it's
that's what Dennis had said. Yeah.
They took the time for just anybody.
Oh, good. I can. That's real nice. I'm sure you guys appreciate that. That being offered and them working with you, and there's no doubt. I said this to Dennis. There's no doubt they had their hands full just with their tribe and their daily stuff. But no, it's glad. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad you shared that with us. And that's great. Great, thank you. Other than Jesus from the Bible, who would you like to spend a day with?
That would be Naomi and Ruth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They just had such a strong bond, and when Naomi lost her husband and her two sons, she told both her daughter-in-laws, Ruth and Orpah, is that how you say it, to go back home and be with their families. So the one did, whereas Ruth, she said no. She says, "Where you go, I go. Where you dieth, I dieth." So to me, that's a wonderful thing to do. She didn't have to do that. And then we know the story that evolved from that. She ended up marrying Boaz, and then, so forth. Yeah,
beautiful story. Yeah, that's out of all the people that I've had, that's the first time I've heard that, and that is a wonderful. If you were to spend a day with them, I'm sure that would be quite the day, no question. Now, before we say goodbye to our viewers, Karen, I'd like to ask you if you have an encouraging message that you'd like to pass on to the next generation.
Sure. That would be for people not to give up so easily. There's always going to be challenges in life, but God did say he'll never give us any more than we can bear. And if you continue to draw nigh unto God as he draws nigh unto us, it's amazing the strength that he will give us. And it makes me think of Psalm 91:4. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. So, we may stray from him, but he'll never stray from us. He's always going to be there.
He's faithful. It's us that usually, steer away or look away. And great message to, keep the faith when times get tough.
Yes.
Don't give in, right? Stay strong and stay connected with the Lord, and you'll get through it.
Amen.
Amen to that. Well, Karen, it's been a pleasure sitting with you here today. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and spend it with me. I again appreciate all your answers and sharing them with us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for asking me.
All right. Well, to all our viewers out there, thanks again for viewing. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again. Thanks again, Karen.
Bye-bye.
God bless.